Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to a roundup of some of the latest news from the world of Formula 1. Kicking us off, and Toto Wolff has said that Esteban Ocon is guaranteed to be back on the grid and in a good car for the 2020 F1 season. After Force India announced that they would be retaining Sergio Perez for 2019 and Williams signing George Russell, Ocon's chances of a seat for next season have taken a big hit, and he has got very few options available to him. This has led to speculation that he could be set to take a sabbatical before returning in the future. And although he is hopeful that Williams will sign the Frenchman, Wolff insists that there are other plans in place and that Ocon will return in 2020. The Mercedes boss said, "They say only fools are optimistic, and in July I was really optimistic about having Esteban in a Renault. So I don't know, it's not our call. Williams need to make up their mind who they think is the best driver for the team. It's not only Esteban, there is Robert in the frame and others, and all of them deserve the chance. Williams will make their choice. We are prepared for plan B with Esteban. One thing I can guarantee is that he's going to be in a good car in 2020 because there's many teams out there that have an interest in Esteban." Now currently there are only 3 seats available on the grid for next season, one at Ocon's current team Force India, which is expected to be taken by Lance Stroll, one available at Toro Rosso with Alexander Albon, the favourite to take that, and then of course the one at Williams, which according to reports is being fought for by 3 drivers, Sergei Sirotkin, Robert Kubica and Esteban Ocon. It was also reported last week that Williams were trying to put a plan in place to allow them to take Ocon, a plan which apparently involves trying to fill the financial void which will be left when Stroll and Martini leave at the end of the year. And at the US Grand Prix, tongues began wagging when Claire Williams was spotted on the grid with Rich Energy's William Story. It should also be noted that there are question marks over Sergei Sirotkin's funding after reports emerged yesterday stating his Russian backers have had their accounts frozen. So watch this space. But Williams have already said they are in no rush to make any further driver announcements. Sticking with Williams to a point, and Lance Stroll is set to get a run out with Force India at the post-season Abu Dhabi test. As just mentioned, it is expected that Lance Stroll will be moving to the team for 2019 to partner Sergio Perez, and although nothing has been officially confirmed, Force India have said that they are in no rush to make an announcement about the Canadian's move until Esteban Ocon has resolved his own future. But when asked if there was any chance that something could happen to scupper Stroll's test in Abu Dhabi, team principal Otmar Safnauer stated, "I don't think so, but I don't think there is any reason to hurry it. It is just out of courtesy to Esteban until he knows what he is doing. It would be nice for Esteban to announce his own thing. I think Abu Dhabi it would be good to have the second driver in the car to get some mileage. The Abu Dhabi test is all about next year. Although it is run with this year's car, it is with next year's tyres, so it is all about understanding next year's tyres." There were also reports earlier in the year claiming that Lance Stroll could take Esteban Ocon's seat at Force India before the season ends, but when pushed on that, Safnauer confirmed that the Frenchman would see out the remainder of the season with Force India. Sebastian Vettel has conceded that Ferrari took too long to refine their form following a difficult last few Grand Prix. After a poor run of form which saw the team comfortably beaten by Mercedes, Ferrari arrived in Austin at the weekend hoping for better and certainly managed to find their form again as Kimi Raikkonen took the win and the car looked to have found some pace. But Sebastian Vettel, who now trails Lewis Hamilton by 70 points in the championship with 75 still up for grabs, admits that turning it around took too long. The German said, "It took too long. You can see it as good news, but you can also see it as bad news. If we have to go back to a car that has been competitive 3 or 4 months ago, surely it can't be good news if you think about it. If you don't see that there is a problem, you don't think that there is a problem. We felt the car was not as strong as it was before, but if you don't see there is anything wrong, then you don't know that there is something wrong. All the steps we did, they seemed to make sense, but now looking back, they didn't. Clearly, there was something missed. We haven't understood why and where the aero took off and started. There is a lot of stuff for us to do and understand, but I'm pretty sure we will do what is necessary and get on top of it." Although the Drivers' Championship looks like a foregone conclusion, there is still hope for Ferrari in the Constructors, with the Scuderia trailing Mercedes by 66 points, with 129 still to play for. And of course, with the team finding form again, they could yet take the fight to the Silver Arrows. Following his collision with Lance Stroll at the US Grand Prix, Fernando Alonso feels that there are more amateur drivers on the Formula 1 grid than in some other series. The Spaniard was hit by Stroll on the opening lap in Austin, which resulted in Alonso retiring from the Grand Prix and led to yet another team radio rant from the double world champion. Now, Stroll did receive a drive-through penalty for the incident, but that didn't stop Alonso criticising the FIA for not doing enough to help stop that sort of driving. The Spaniard stated, "I'm not upset. I'm disappointed because I'm here for 9 days in the US to do a race, and I do 600 metres of the race and they push you off. That's the way it is, but it's more a problem for the FIA if they keep allowing this type of driving. I drive in another series with amateur drivers, theoretically, and there has never been a problem. Maybe when there's a big crash, they will do something. Until then, we'll try to have fun in other categories where we race against 34 cars, against amateur people, against 60-year-old men, and nothing ever happens. The level is lower. I race in the WEC, and they are very aggressive as well. And we have 3 different categories there, but no one crashes into each other. There's another mentality. Fernando Alonso will leave Formula 1 at the end of the current season, and since taking that decision, the McLaren driver has appeared disillusioned with the sport and has been full of criticism for it. Alonso will be taking part in the second half of the WEC season with Toyota next year, but has recently ruled out taking part in IndyCar full-time, stating that it was never an option for 2019. And finally, Daniel Ricciardo has expressed his frustration at his current run of reliability issues and says that he wants to celebrate with Red Bull before he leaves the team at the end of the year, but is obviously running out of opportunities to do so. The Aussie has endured a run of bad luck in terms of reliability and once again found himself pulling over at the US Grand Prix with yet more mechanical issues. His frustrations were apparently so high that, according to Christian Horner, Ricciardo put his fist through the wall in the driver's room. And the Aussie bemoaned his bad luck after the race in Austin. Ricciardo stated, "It's incredibly frustrating to retire so early in the race, and I just don't seem to have any luck at the moment. The biggest shame is that I only have a handful of races left with Red Bull, and I want to have more highs than we've had. I want to be able to celebrate with the team at least one more time and be on the podium to enjoy that feeling, but we're running out of races, which is pretty tough to take at the moment. Now, seeing how the race played out makes it even harder to take, as it could have been pretty interesting." So despite a strong start to the season which saw him win 2 of the opening 6 rounds, Ricciardo now finds himself 45 points behind teammate Max Verstappen and hasn't stood on the podium since his win in Monaco. That is it for this week's news roundup then, and in the comments section down below, let me know your thoughts on any of the news stories featured in this video. Now, unfortunately, there will be no live stream tomorrow evening, but I will be back on Thursday at 4 PM UK time with the weekend warm-up for the Mexican Grand Prix. And of course, don't forget to join me over the course of the weekend for yet more content, and I will make sure that I get a schedule out for all of that soon. In the meantime, though, you can follow me on social media. Links to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and to Discord are all in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean. This has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.